And so going through the membership weekend, they, of course, have you do certain drills and certain tests. But the things that stood out the most to me that made me question whether this was something I should be a part of is that when we were literally being inducted into the organization, they have you kneel. They have you basically submit yourself on knees, basically, towards the organization that you're pledging. In most processes, whether it's through the state process, whether it's through the underground process, you're going to have to kneel in some way, shape, or form. And we were blindfolded at the time, so we could not see who was in the room. And they had a bowl of noodles, which I found out afterward that they had us eat when we had knelt and say, like, eat the fruit of the gods, eat the fruit of the gods, eat the fruit of Alpha. I think I even heard one of the older frat members say, and that was something that, of course, I went through with. I was a little taken back by, but in kneeling and eating, you never know, of course, where that food is coming from or what literally is taking part in the spiritual realm when you're kneeling and eating. And so that's something that I will point out too, is be mindful of when you are called to kneel at any altars or kneel at anything, because again, there's a spiritual submissions component with that. So that was something that stood out to me, along with when we had gone through being in that room and we were separated, we went into a holding room. And in all of the fraternities, I'm sure when you go through the process for your state, you're going to be put in a holding room where you're having to resuscitate certain hymns or certain songs to basically ingrain it in your psyche. And what I learned, especially from music, hip hop music that I listen to, a lot of times we may be rapping along with certain songs, and then you may not know the words right away, but shortly after you've listened to it maybe 3 or 4 times, you're starting to repeat the same words that you didn't know a week ago. And that's a part of recitation and downloading into your psyche on what the artists are saying. And so I never forget when we were in the holding room, you couldn't hear like a loud song or a hymn because it was not a lot of people in the room at first. But then when people started coming in, they were told to basically pick up on the hymn and to say the hymn at the same time. And so literally you can hear when more people are coming in the room. And this is like downloading into you, because maybe if you didn't know the words right away, after 5, 6, 10 or 20 more people come in, it's louder. And so you're able to recite it the same way you would be at a concert. And so I remember them having us say, it's going to be a cold, I want to say November, because we had gone through membership weekend in November. And I think our probate was right at the end of November, early December at Kennesaw. And it's going to be a cold November. When I look back and when I remember fond memories, and I can still remember it even to this day, because again, certain things that you may have had downloaded into you, whether it's music, songs, or whatever, even though you don't listen to it anymore, it's still a part of you. And so we have to continually flush those things out of our system. But at the end of the day, like, you can't negate, there are certain songs that you'll never forget the lyrics to. And so that was literally a song that we had to sing. It's going to be a cold November. When I look back and I remember fond memories